Before your eyes is the Lofree Flow 2, one of the two most hotly anticipated low-profile keyboards set to release this year, or if you're watching this video later, one that has already released. And look, why shouldn't it be? This keyboard is based as the successor of the original Lofree Flow, a keyboard that was such a slap to pre-built keyboard haters pretty much that it wiped them off the planet with its ultra creamy, ultra smooth finish and feel when you were typing on it. It was a brilliant keyboard in that regard, but it wasn't perfect. And the Lofree Flow 2 hopes to kind of bridge that gap and improve upon all the things the Lofree Flow didn't have, or that could have been better at the very least. And we're gonna see if the Flow 2 accomplishes that mission with this release, or if Lofree has dropped the ball. Either way, it's gonna be a genuinely neutral review to see exactly what this keyboard is all about. So let's get into it. In a world full of generic keyboard boxes, shout out to Lofree for actually trying to, make a more visually appealing image of the keyboard. I love the engineering vibe going on here. Pretty cool stuff. Open up the box and you've got some Save the Planet environmental packaging stuff going on here. Pretty cool. Open that up, here it is, the Lofree Flow 2 in the flesh. But more on that in just a minute. You get a couple of additional accessories like some spare keycaps for the Windows variant. You also do have a USB-A dongle, that's right, wireless functionality at last. And then you have a nicely braided USB-A to Type-C cable over here. And then finally some basic documentation to get you started. Alright, let's talk about design, but first let's all take a deep breath. I know this is a very passionate and somewhat controversial topic for some of you as far as design is concerned with this keyboard, but let's start with the facts first. Look, this is ultimately a premium tier keyboard, which means you get an aluminum body end to end, and the choice of material here does undoubtedly feel super premium. This right here is the silver variant, which means you get white keycaps. If you get the darker space gray variant, you get black keycaps instead, and we do have it in the 84 layout over here. You also have a 60 and 100 key layout option. Now, as far as the bottom side of the keyboard goes, again, that same clean metallic surface here, very nice to the touch. I love the minimalist look over here, and to make matters even better, they actually have metallic height raters. You don't see the same with even the most expensive keyboards. They usually have plastic ones instead, so this is quite nice. And you do have a switch to toggle between wired, wireless, and off mode. It's kind of hidden between one of the flaps over here, so a pretty subtle way to put it in anyway. And then the back side of the keyboard is just pure metal again. There's no real thing going on here. It's pretty clean and simple. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, no pun intended, and that of course is this overhead space right here. Look, from a design perspective, Lofree want to do something new, and I can respect that. What I can't understand, for the love of God, is why this is such a functionally useless amount of space. I mean, the side touch bar could have easily been included even if they had a normal form factor. The Type-C cable is still included on the side of the device, which means you take even more overhead space on top of the already protruding metal here. And then, despite having all this extra space, they still didn't give a way to park your USB dongle directly into the keyboard. They could have easily drilled a slot here. I just don't understand what the logic or thought process was here. The second part of the story from a neutral perspective is one that's in blown out of proportion. That's people saying, oh, this is going to hit my mouse. Look, your mouse is not going to be in a domestically abused relationship with this keyboard. I've been using this keyboard for several weeks. My mouse has not hit the keyboard even once. And why would it? Yes, it's a larger form factor, but that doesn't just somehow magically mean your mouse is going to start hitting your keyboard. It doesn't really work like that, because then larger keyboards like 100 key keyboards will always be hitting the mouse. Unless you're using really tight desk space, again, it's not going to be an issue. Design wise, it's going to be subjective. A lot of people don't like the design, some do. I think it's okay, but functionally speaking, yes, this is undoubtedly a waste of space. On a much more functional note, the backlighting system here is top notch. I mean, you've got shine through keycaps so the light actually penetrates through, making this, again, a useful backlight system. It is quite bright, and you don't have random light leakage from nooks and crannies of this keyboard. It is a really well executed system. The only thing missing here is RGB lighting, if that is something that matters to you in the first place. Now, it's also worth noting that you do have double shot PBT keycaps here, which means you get a good degree of moisture and oil resistance, and they do have this really subtle matte texture to them and a more traditional shape or form factor. I really like it. It feels nice to the fingers. This keyboard is completely hot swappable, which is nice to see, so you can remove the keycaps as well as the switches beneath them, though they don't include a key swapping tool out of the box, oddly enough. With that said, we do have the surfer switches over here out of the box, and that's basically Lofree standard linear switch. You can also get it in a quiet linear switch, which I believe is called pulse, and a tactile switch, which I believe is called the void switch. Anyway, I like these surfer switches. They're a good balance between having a airy feel but also having somewhat of a more audible feedback than ultra quiet switches. And overall, the typing experience here is pretty unique. So while you do have a gasket mount, you have a very rigid and stiff frame by design. I know some reviewers aren't the biggest fans of that. I personally actually like it a lot. I think the best way to describe this, metaphorically speaking, is like tapping on thin ice in slow motion. It loosely follows the smoothness of the original Lofree Flow, but adds its own signature by taking away the softness the original Flow had and adding a little bit more tactility to it overall. Anyway, while I cannot make you feel the keyboard, I can give you a sound test for reference for exactly what this keyboard sounds like when compared to the original and a popular rival product. The Flow 2 finally offers tri-mode connectivity, something that the original Flow didn't have, which means you have wired mode, you have a Bluetooth mode with 3 profiles, and now you have 2.4 GHz wireless mode with the USB-A dongle. And both the wired and wireless mode now offer a 1000 Hz polling rate, which is nice. Despite having a larger 3000 mAh battery on the 8400 key variant, we only get about 120 hours of battery life with backlighting completely off. For context, the Newfie Air 75 V3 with a 4000 mAh battery gives up to 1200 hours on a single charge with backlighting off, which is more than 11 times the battery life we get over here, so that is a bit underwhelming. One of the best things about this keyboard is that you do have built-in VIA support, so you don't have to rely on some shady first-party software, and instead you get a nice third-party configuration program. So the Lofree Flow 2 in terms of pricing is in a weird spot. I believe their final pre-launch pricing is going to be like $140, but after that, per their own site, it's going to go to $200, which is a little bit on the costly side for a keyboard of this class. But at the same time, there's a few things to keep in mind. I think the Flow 2 is ultimately a keyboard that puts typing quality above everything else, just like the original Flow did. Despite having a bit of a different palette than the original Flow, I still think this is one of the best typing keyboards out there. I mean, the nimble tactile feedback, just the way this keyboard sounds, when you're typing on it, is truly a unique experience, and the Flow 2 brings its own unique elements to it. The keyboard is undoubtedly a premium slab of hardware. The choice of aluminum, the sturdy build here is again very nice, and honestly I don't even mind the overhead design they have with the asymmetrical look. However, I don't appreciate the lack of functionality we have with all this extra space, having the Type-C port on the side, or not including a parking slot for the USB-A dongle when it's not in use, are simple things that shouldn't have been overlooked whatsoever. Now ultimately, I think the Flow 2 is a keyboard you should get if typing quality or typing experience is something you value above all else. If you are looking for the most functional low profile out there, the likes of Newfie's Air 75 V3 or even the MQ80 might have slight advantages in those areas, though admittedly the Flow 2 does offer you native VIA support, something not always found in the competition. But let me know your thoughts on the Flow 2. If you already have it, I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. And as always, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you sub to our channel if you like content like this, and I will catch you in the next one. Product links will be below.